So what are your priorities? I mean, yesterday we heard from Scott Bessent in his hearing talking about tariffs serving many purposes, as well as extending the tax cuts. From your standpoint, what's most important and needs to be in that bill? Putting border aside, I recognize border is your number one priority.
Border is a top priority, and the president's going to take steps on day one. We're going to follow with legislation on that. But making sure that we address inflation that has been just attacking the paychecks of so many hardworking American families, bringing down energy costs. This president needs help to make sure that we, as he said, drill, baby, drill. So across the country, we're becoming energy independent again. That's going to be a critical way to bring down inflation and impact prices at the grocery store and at the pump, and housing prices as well.
You know, it seems like your colleagues on the left do not want to acknowledge what's going on in terms of the wide open border. 145 House Democrats voted against a bill to deport illegal migrants convicted of sex crimes. I mean, they are already convicted of sex crimes. They're against deporting them. The legislation passed yesterday in a vote of 274 to 145. All Republicans voted yes, and any illegal migrant who's convicted of or admits to sex crimes or domestic violence will also be deported and barred from entering the country again. Your thoughts? What went down yesterday?
It was shocking just to hear how radical the Democrats were behaving, and the rhetoric that we were hearing. They were defending, essentially being apologists for domestic abusers. I was a domestic violence prosecutor when I was an attorney. I know these victims and their families. They do not want these abusers to stay where they can continue to abuse or put pressure on these victims to stay with them. So you need to deport these abusers. You need to make sure that the people in this country are not here illegally. And yes, that includes those who commit domestic acts of violence and violence against women.
Congressman, you've reintroduced the One Agency Act this week, which would consolidate federal antitrust enforcement within the Department of Justice's antitrust division. Tell us more about that, as I know DOJ is looking to cut agencies if it can.
Absolutely. You've got a lot of overlap between the FTC and their regulatory efforts in terms of antitrust and the DOJ and their ability to go after the strangling of marketplace control by single entities, whether it's in the healthcare industry, whether it's in the technology industry. The DOJ is the better place. They have more authority when it comes to criminal matters. So the FTC is duplicitous, and it should be actually rolled into the powers of the DOJ.
Congressman, before you go, I just have a question on China, because I thought it was interesting yesterday that Scott Bessent said that China is already starting behind the 8 ball because it has not met its end of the 2020 deal in terms of buying all of that agriculture from America that it said that it would. What does that mean in terms of President Trump's early days once he gets going Monday? And do you support removing Chinese stocks that trade on our exchanges if they're already on a DOD blacklist? It's amazing to me that you've got companies that are on the DOD blacklist and they still trade on U.S. exchanges.
I think this administration, over the last 4 years, you've seen a light touch with China. You've seen an effort to play footsie with the Chinese and allowing them to get away with so much. I think that the Trump administration is going to be a lot tougher. They're going to use tools at their disposal, like this delisting, like the TikTok ban. I don't know how it's going to resolve itself, but I do think Trump is fully in control when given all the powers at his disposal to confront the Chinese threat and make sure that we stand up for American interests.
All right. We'll be watching your work, sir. Thanks so much for being here this morning.